Good morning. Henry Miller, the US writer, said, "One's destination is never a place, it's a new way of seeing things." Ibn Battuta, the 14th century Moroccan scholar and explorer, said, "Traveling leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller." Danny Kaye, the US comedian, said, "To travel is to take a journey into yourself." It's therefore so fortunate for us this morning that our keynote speaker is an accomplished storyteller who in her own travels helps in new ways for us to see afresh and then to better understand ourselves. She's a television host, a travel writer, a lifestyle presenter, a social media commentator. She travels the world on work, fascinated by stories and sustaining the quite in peril of storytelling, which we all know is so important. She's one of us, a third culture kid. She was born in Mumbai and grew up in Singapore. She shot to fame as a winner of the Discovery TV Travel Host Search and hasn't looked back since. She has traveled and filmed for The Lonely Planet, a TV series, Channel News Asia, Starwood Asia Pacific Channel. But she's used her opportunities in wonderful ways. She's an advocate and a voice on issues of equality. She is an ambassador for the Singapore Habitat for Humanity. She's one of Pink Dot 2016 3 Singaporean ambassadors in support of equality for the LGBT community. She's involved in Willing Hearts in support of feeding the Singapore marginalised. She supports A Single Love, which supports single parents. As I was reading about her, I was very impressed that 2 years ago, she undertook a project by going into an elderly people's home in Singapore for 2 weeks and living in one of the wards. All of us who have got elderly parents would identify with the concern she expressed there. She said there was no privacy, nowhere to hang your clothes, nowhere to put your pictures. She said it's like being in hospital for the rest of your life. This is no person who just simply floats around the world. This is an activist. This is a voice for equality. This is a voice for the elderly. This is a voice for all of us in our community. Dear FIGT friends, speaking on Lead with a Global Soul, will you please welcome Anita Kapoor.
What an introduction. It's really funny, actually, to hear somebody else speak about you that way. I was just trying not to listen and trying not to sort of feel it as much because I need to keep my wits and my emotions about me as I speak to all of you. Hi. Good morning. It's so nice to be here. You know, there's a warmth and a comfort in being amongst people you know who can be as confused as you are throughout their lives. You know, when I walked into this school, oh my God, it triggered so many amazing things for me. It was all the feels, you know, watching all these kids having these unfettered and borderless communications. I saw a performance yesterday and I saw a bake sale and I was right back when I was 11, Singapore, United World College, the whole 9 yards. And I thought, how perfect. What a beautiful place to be, and what a wonderful moment to be. Before I begin formally, a couple of things. Can you hear me well? Yes. Good, because I can't hear myself. Secondly, could I invite all of you to do a little breathing with me so that we are all connected right here and right now, all of our global souls and our global hearts and our global leaderships all together. So if I can invite everybody to just close your eyes. And let's take a deep breath together. And let it out. And let's take another one. And let that out. And let's open our eyes. Now we're one. Thank you. I just want to thank FIGT, first up, for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity, for your faith, and a very special mention to Jody. Where is Jody? Where are you, Jody? There you are. So Jody and I went to school together, but we didn't know each other at all, really, when we were in school. She was in the boarding house. I wanted to be her, basically. And years later, last year in Singapore, after 30 years, we all met again. And I think that attests to our global souls, our cross-culture, third cultural hearts that we just connected immediately. And thank you so much for supporting me, for believing in me, and for allowing a wild card to come and speak to the precious people here. You know, I finished writing this piece in Kathmandu. I was there just 2 nights ago, and I felt it was such an evocative final touchstone from which to decipher the qualities that I believe define true leadership. I had spent a month introspecting on a journey from Dharamshala in India to the hills of Himachal Pradesh. If you've never been, please go. It is absolutely stunning. And then to Nepal for a 10-day spiritual course. And here I am in Bangkok, and tomorrow I am finally home to Singapore. My nails are ripped. I need a haircut bad, but my soul is really, really full. You know, it has been a truly difficult task to try and write this from scratch, and I did, because I had to unravel my own life, to be able to speak with certainty and courage to you at how embracing the awakening, growth, and personal development delivered through being in places unknown has built my own global soul, my own mindset, and a very unique leadership quality. But an early morning exchange 2 days ago on my final day in Nepal confirmed it. I stopped at a tiny fried bread and pakora stall because, well, global stomach, right? Run by a young Nepalese woman with a very open face and bright eyes. We connected with curiosity about each other. We weighed up the pros and cons of a courageous transition, hers, to Japan or maybe Australia, where she wanted to study a little bit more. And about Singapore too. Me in my excessively broken, terrible Hindi, and she in her limited English. I saw her give a little girl an extra jalebi, and as I waited for my pakoras hungrily, she sneaked me a little snack too. She is already a transitional global soul in the making. Seeking connection, she is curious, and she is clearly compassionate. And as for leader, she was definitely already the boss of that pakora stall. Just ask her uncle who was working alongside her. You know, I would never have been able to have that conversation had it not been for the life that I have left myself open to. Or, earlier in March, to be 10 feet away and kind of flirting with the Dalai Lama, I was. And with an audience of 80 others there to listen to him speak. Or evoking supersonic self-belief through a 12-hour bus ride from Himachal Pradesh to Delhi in the middle of the night with 3 toilet stops and the worst case of food poisoning diarrhea I have ever had in years. I bet you never thought that you would hear the words Dalai Lama and diarrhea in a keynote. Neither did I. I sincerely apologize, Your Holiness. But this has been a synchronistic month, bringing me to this stage and this moment. One that has cemented what I subconsciously knew but rarely acknowledged. That without embracing and accepting my origins, my experiences, my emergence, and my transitions as a passage of great knowledge, I may not have had the courage to open my heart and communicate seamlessly with that stranger with bright eyes, compliment a global leader of peace on his eyewear, that's the way you flirt, or have the inner strength to not bust a gut on a moving bus and still somehow be curious about the journey of hurtling down a twisting mountainside. Choices and their resulting experiences are privileges. we take ourselves into these global adventures, be it a mountain or a new country for work. Sometimes it's wholeheartedly, other times not so much. But while they all have a downside of complexities brought about by our personal relationship with change, the transitional life is ripe with education and inspiration at every turn. And we are the stakeholders of this multifaceted wisdom. I believe then that it is our task to absorb, to understand, and confidently transmit the riches of a globally saturated mindset beyond a cultural label or a tribal gathering back into the ether, so more minds and hearts receive the opportunities that we have, evolving society and leadership back to a humanistic expression. Choosing to observe, flow, and participate is a form of self-empowerment. These are the actions that stoke my own creativity. They tune me into people, communities, and situations so much better. They enforce positive connections, and they allow me to intuitively understand widely. But where did these actions originate? From learning about and being a part of my own parents' courage in jumping borders and settling into new spaces, from observing how they refused to exist monoculturally, always engaging widely, from their curiosities with travel and food and culture and religion, and from their ever-present compassion in actions towards strangers in need. Coupled with my formal education in the same, while I was terrible at math, I was a straight A student of curiosity, compassion, and courage. And these are the attributes that allow me to stand or sit on this stage, delivering to you, I think, far less of a keynote and more of a love note. Because I believe that tapping the source of curiosity, compassion, and courage comes down to opening your heart and expressing forms of love. The heart space is what this world urgently and widely and deeply needs to connect to and utilize honestly in these times of empty conspiracies, unconscious disconnect, disenfranchised violence, and extreme power-mongering. To uncover, reveal, reverse, heal, and facilitate change demands of all of us to crack open our humanness at a level that has not been seen or felt in decades. To get closer to people, places, and the earth, that requires armies of heart-led, staunchly visible, and action-oriented leaders, unafraid to be honest, mindful, authentic, and brave. Honesty requires courage, doesn't it? And accountability. Mindfulness requires compassion, humility, and self-awareness. And authenticity requires openness and curiosity. These are not lofty goals and hopes. Our evolution as a humanity depends on it. And guess what? You are those people. All individuals and families in global transitions are. You tap courage, compassion, and curiosity daily. You are primed to lead and spread a dynamic, soulful, and global change and exchange. I believe without a shadow of a doubt that in respectfully emerging, engaging, absorbing, and embracing in local and global experiences across social and economic lines, all of which is heart-driven mindfulness, that an emotionally intelligent global mindset emerges. And it is this which will contribute to shaping a fresh vision, rhythm, language, and visual of leadership for the world. So no pressure, yeah? You are just remarkably empowered. Because there is a different result, isn't there, from emotional intelligence and balance? No antagonistic wildfire in being culturally educated. No moralistic coding in interfaith respect and dialogue. Zero hysteria in depth of knowledge. And no anger whatsoever in humility. So if you think I'm dreaming, look at what's happening on the global stage already. Let me throw out a few names and you'll see it in the slides. These people, to me, already personify courageousness, compassion, and curiosity inherent to their global souls. Jacinta Ardern, emotionally intelligent crisis management and soulful driven leadership. Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago, the city's first Black woman and openly LGBTQ leader. Greta Thunberg, pricking our conscience on climate change. The Dalai Lama, apart from me flirting with him, he's actually launched SEE, which stands for Social, Emotional, and Ethical Learning, a program that was launched in April, and 37 countries have already taken it on. Filmmaker and politician Thanwaren Sukapisit, Thailand's first openly transgender MP. Egg boy Will Connolly, fighting toxic bigotry and racism with protein. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, challenging and destroying stereotype, showing up political bullshit with depth, intellect, and determination. Khalid Al-Amiri and Salama, does anybody watch their videos? Elegantly and humorously educating with videos about life, love, and family as Muslims in the UAE. Maria Ressler of Rappler, standing behind independent journalism. And my favorite, 95-year-old John Sato, catching 4 buses to join an anti-racism rally in Christchurch after the city's terrorist attack. Enlightened, aware, mindful, engaged, and honest, and all leaders as a result. What draws us to their fearlessness is that they show up, they speak out, and they show feelings, and they transform this into actions. Let me remind you once again that we are all current or potential peacemakers and keepers. We are all influencers of societal and corporate change. We're all leaders of the present and the future. All that unconscious code switching, that fluid assimilation, that sharing and experiencing and integrating aspects of many races and religions and languages and cultures and politics, society and commerce, on steroids, of course, makes us the early adopters of a unique mindset and borderless culture, physically, mentally, and emotionally. You know, this is more than just simply living globally and affording good schools or getting good jobs. That's cool. But this is, if you want it, about utilizing the opportunities to be a different kind of human and to create future humans of the same, exposed through immersion, emotionally mindful through experience, and culturally sensitive and aware through embracing difference. I want to address the folk in this room, or who are watching this live stream, hi, who are shy or afraid, bullied or feeling invisible, timid, or maybe even intimidated by my words and my ideologies, or how it may mismatch their own experiences. For whom their global exposures and experiences have become or have always been a source of anxiety and exhaustion. I feel you. I see you, and I am you. It can be a tough load. So here's some advice for when it all feels like just too much. I trust in my experiences as teachings of more than loneliness and disconnect, but of priceless lessons in expansion and release. I embrace my origins not as stories to continually stand apart with or be confused by, but as touchstones of understanding, acceptance, and connection with myself first, and then others. I release my personal anxiety and choices by acknowledging a simple, reassuring truth. Unpredictability and uncertainty is experienced by everyone, everywhere. I ground against the speed around me, and God knows the world is at warp speed right now. The restlessness within and the exhaustion that I'm sure many of us share from this organically occurring thing of being permanently switched on. I do that by giving my brain and my body what it needs. Compassionate timeouts, service to others, meditation, travel, and communions with nature, gentle reality checks, and soul repositionings. And I create trust within and balance my self-esteem by speaking from my heart, no matter how uncool it may be or sound. These actions settle and fine-tune my gifts, and they will do the same for you. As a result of embracing my broad-minded parents and my education, my exposure, and in being at peace with my experiences and qualities, I'm a different kind of leader in my industry. The kind that is attuned to the human condition, unafraid to fight for change, has healthy boundaries, and is comfortable with standing up and out for what I believe in. I'm a mirror to you, because this is you too. This is leading with your global soul, recognizing, encouraging, and utilizing genuine, sensitive, soulful, brave, and nuanced individuality to collectively influence and evoke positive outcomes. The person who sits before you did IB certificates. I got my first job in a kitchen at 16, the next at 18. I skipped university. I've been a management trainee speaking to CEOs, and I also clean toilets. I've climbed up lift shafts to write engineering reports, sold advertising spaces, quit my job to write, and was lucky enough to work for major publishers who believed in me, interviewing both legends and regular folk. I've enjoyed an accidental TV career, recognition, and some level of fame. I get to moderate insightful discussions, stand on stages like this, and I've endured total financial ruin. But I'm most proud of to have had the honor of being a caregiver to my mom. Whew. Thank you. I think somebody's going to give me a tissue any moment. I thought I wouldn't cry, but hey. Thank you. She's going to give me a used tissue. That's a real experience. I love it. I said we would be one and globally together. Thank you. Through all of these experiences in life, what defines me the most are the things that I learned as a migrant, an immigrant, and a citizen, and which continue to connect me to the world. To keep an open heart, a free and an agile mind, a tenacious spirit, and my empathy intact, which allows me to cry in front of you too. I am thankful for my exposure to curiosity, compassion, and courage, which has built and rebuilt my global soul, aligning my leadership imprint with my deepest convictions. Ladies and gentlemen, may I respectfully incite you to examine, to understand, and to love, and to share your own. Thank you.